Hey guys, this video is going to be about exercises that help release your tight hip flexors. If you feel tight in the hips because you're sitting a lot throughout the rest of the day, this video is going to be helpful for you. The hip flexors comprise of two big muscles, primarily. One, your psoas, which is a muscle that comes from the lumbar spine, and then the iliacus, which is a muscle that comes from the inner part of your hip, and then they converge into what we call the iliopsoas, and then attaches and inserts onto the inside of your hip. The other hip flexor that's also pretty important and relevant to us here in this video is the muscle called the rectus femoris. I just call it rec fem for short. This is a muscle that crosses two joints in the hip and in the knee. So this muscle comes from the front of the hip, crosses that joint, comes down, becomes part of your quad, and then goes over the kneecap, which then crosses now the knee joint and attaches onto the front of your shin. This is also a pretty important muscle, also a very powerful hip flexor, one of the other primary hip flexors in addition to the iliopsoas. So your iliopsoas has two major functions. The first one is actually what I think is the most important one. Because it originates from the lumbar spine, it provides spinal stability. So if that muscle is also weak, then what happens is you lose an aspect of spinal stability in the spine, which can also create pain and dysfunction in your low back. The second function, obviously, it's a hip flexor, so it flexes the hip, so it allows you to bring your knee towards your chest. So there's two exercises that I'm going to show you to address both of those aspects in terms of stability and mobility of the iliopsoas. So the first exercise is an eccentric psoas march in a supine position. You need to be on an elevated table. You can do this in your bed at home, or if you're going to the gym, you can do this on a bench that's somewhat elevated. Either way, you need some height because your legs need to hang off. So to do this exercise, you need to sit at the edge of a table. You grab we're working on the left side here. You grab the opposite leg and then you lay back. And as you lay back, you grabbing the opposite leg just helps protect your spine, puts it in a better position so it doesn't arch. And what you do is on this leg, I actually have I think this is a 5 pound. Yeah, this is a 5 pound weight. And you're essentially working the psoas in this position. You're bringing it down all the way where it can elongate. So you're slowly bringing it down to allow for eccentric elongation. So basically having it lengthen and contract at the same time. And then you're bringing that back to work on strength. And then you're bringing it down as well too, to work on eccentric control and elongate at the same time. And then now you're bringing it up to strengthen it. And then you're bringing it down slowly to elongate it in an eccentric manner. Usually when I have people do this, about 10 is what I have them shoot for, especially if they are doing it with weight. So the progressed version of this is you don't hold this. Now you have both of this up, and then you're slowly bringing the left one down as you stabilize the core. The challenge is to not let your low back arch. So if you take one hand and put it underneath, you should be able to maintain pressure on your hand in your low back. At any point where it goes up is where you lose that spinal stability like I was talking about. So you want to maintain that pressure on the table as you're doing this. So this is the eccentric psoas march. So the second exercise is a reverse Nordic hamstring curl. So really what this is actually does not work on the hamstring. It works on a muscle called the rectus femoris, which is the other hip flexor. If you're sitting for a long period of time, if your psoas is going to be tight, your rec fem is likely going to be tight because it overlaps in a similar fashion. So to do this exercise, you need assistance to do this, or you can do this without it, but that would be a pretty advanced level. All you need is a pretty strong band that holds part of your body weight. You take this, tie a knot, and then just throw it on the other end of a doorway, just higher on the end of a doorway because it needs to be pulling you up while you're doing the exercise as an assistance. Just make sure you have this not on the other end. Close the door, or at least have it somewhere closed so the band cannot come off and it's stable while it's pulling you up. You really want that stable to help you come up. All right, so this is what the exercise looks like. So you want to be on your knees. I'm just using this to protect my knees. You can, at home, you can use a towel or whatever, anything that's thick, that's soft. So you grab the band to start off with, and it's tight to begin with. So there's a good amount of tension on the band to start off with. You keep your body up straight, and then you lean backwards to the point where your feet is almost touching your butt, and then you come on back up. What you're feeling should be like a nice stretch in the front of your quad, which is right over here. Sometimes you may even feel it like a little bit of compression, a little bit of stretch over onto the knee, because that's where the muscle lies over, and that's what you're stretching. And usually when I have people do this in the clinic, it's about 10 of this. This is also a pretty hard exercise to do, so this is why I have people do this with a band. If you can do this without the band, you would basically be coming back, and then you would be going back up. Without the band, that's how you would do it. But to start off, I would highly recommend doing this with the band. That's all I have for you guys in terms of these two exercises to help release the hip flexors. Let me know if you have any questions. Please leave them in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.